All right, good afternoon, everybody. The date is September 9th, 2025. It is 2 o'clock. We're here for a public hearing of file number 25-0120 for the area of impact proposals for the city of Bonners Ferry and the city of Moyer to either accept, reject, or modify the city's request AOI boundaries and to consider ordinance adopting the AOS. Call for a staff report.
Claire Riley for the record, and I think I might need to sit so I don't block views this way, but let me know if you can't hear. Sorry.
You can sit, you're fine.
Okay. So I think I said Claire Marley for the record, and I am the contract planner for the county. And all across the state, people are doing the same thing as what we're doing today, which is considering a new thing called an area of impact. It used to be that we had areas of city impact, and everyone who received notice is actually already in an area of city impact. But the state of Idaho has rebuilt what that is as an area of impact, changed some of the language of how we have to view that. And they've determined that by December 31st of this year, the old area of city impact will disappear. In the meantime, all of the counties have to adopt new areas of impact for all their cities within their jurisdictions. So it's on the cities themselves to begin that process of making that request. So I'll run through a couple of slides just to give the background. As the chair has said, this is for both the city of Bonners Ferry and the city of Moyer Springs. These are the only two incorporated cities within Boundary County. And so we'll work through what those proposals are. They'll take test drive or something that the Board of Commissioners can't see in today's hearing. So just a little bit more on the background. This comes out of the Local Land Use Planning Act of the state of Idaho. And as I said, we have until December 31st to adopt the new boundaries. These area city impact boundaries will dissolve at December 31st. The new requirements are they cannot be any greater than 2 miles from the city limits. And what the Board of Commissioners have to look at is the likelihood of the extension of city services in the future or the likelihood of annexation in 5 years. They also can use the criteria of anticipated commercial growth, residential growth, and the connections that the cities have through transportation and geography. The city itself can do a larger map called the comprehensive plan map, which each of our cities do have, and those can go beyond the 2 mile limit. And neither city at this time is proposing any changes to that. The state law continues to say that the two entities, the city and the county, need to continue to work together on future planning issues. But in this new code, it's only the Board of Commissioners who makes the final decision. So what has changed is that it used to be that the area of city impact started with the Planning and Zoning Commission hearing. They determined those boundaries, they forwarded it to each of the entities, the city councils and the Board of Commissioners, who then held hearings themselves, and then together the two county and city entities negotiated an agreement. That's all gone now. This is solely the commissioner, the Board of Commissioners' decision to be made, and it no longer allows any standards of the city to apply within the county's area of impact. It used to be that some of your city ordinances could apply, but very few counties ever imposed that to begin with. The specifics about trade area and influence is gone from the code, and the name change obviously is now area of impact. It started out in January that everybody was calling it AI, and then they realized that wasn't really a very good shorthand for it, so it's now AOI. So the procedures are that, as I mentioned, the staff is giving the summary, and then each of the cities will be asked to give their own summaries. The testimony will be heard. There may be some rebuttal the cities will need to give. And then the county has the choice to accept, reject, or modify. So our staff has been through about 6 of these hearings so far. In several instances, they were returned to the cities for further information. Some of them were approved and some were modified. So you have all of those choices in front of you. And then the county is given 90 days to act, or else the city could petition the court to determine the boundaries. And then lastly, they're not subject to judicial review. The purpose in state law is that these are areas where the city can learn about county proposals that occur within the area of impact, and they could be given the rights of additional time to comment, such as an agency might be given, but they do not govern the area within the areas of impact. And then, since many of you, at least the letters or calls we've gotten are concerned about annexation, this doesn't cause there to be annexation of the properties that are included within the maps. However, it does allow that to happen if the city wishes to annex. There is that first step of seeing whether or not it's in an area of impact. The lands that aren't in the area of impact but are in the city's comp plan can be annexed if there is a agreement on both sides. If the landowner wants to be annexed, then the city can annex them if they're in the city's comprehensive plan. Okay, so today's, as I mentioned, the city councils of each of the cities, Bonners Ferry and Moyes Springs, have each given formal requests to the Board of County Commissioners, and staff sent legal notices to everyone who was on those lists within those area boundaries. And then for today's purposes, the background will be given for the entire process, but then we'll open it up to Bonners Ferry first for testimony, and then Moyes Springs second, so that we can keep those two testimonies separate, and the board eventually will make separate decisions for each of the cities. The Board of Commissioners have two draft ordinances in front of them that essentially establish the areas as presented by the cities and provide that the laws of boundary county will prevail within the area of city impact, and that this boundary will endeavor to let the cities know when a development is proposed within that area of impact. That's what the essence of the ordinances are. That just repeats basically what I said. We agree to coordinate with the cities, essentially we, the county does. And then lastly, because we have area of city impact ordinances on the books, we do have to go through the process of repealing those as we replace with the new area of impact. And so real quick, this is City of Bonners Ferry. This is presented by Mike Pausas here today. He did the mapping and decision-making with respect to that. Since we represent boundary as well as Bonners Ferry, he did that separate from us so that we could have no conflict on that presentation. There are only 5 parcels proposed within this one. These are ones that the city has either verbally or in writing had interest in future annexations. And so there are the ones that are included, with the exception of the Idaho Transportation Department, which by law, the city could annex them without them giving voluntary requests to be annexed. So potentially that could be included to make that more connected. But that's their proposal. Any questions before I switch them out?
What are the areas that are being proposed here? We got a bunch here.
There are 5 separate parcels. And
The bottom ones?
the bottom are, and when Mike gets up, he can, once I get finished, he'll go up and explain what each of those are. But they are properties where someone is seeking annexation potentially. And the lower one that has that handle on it just changed hands, so I'm gonna ask Mike when he gets up to remind us.
Oh, potential, I've seen that now.
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry. So the orange, the one with the long handle, smaller one north of it, which may have some access.
What's the bright red on the top?
Oh, within the city already.
Okay.
That's the very end of the commercial zone that comes out from the Forest Service properties. So this is the posted properties. This is the storage area south of the Wendell Lane. And then Moyes Springs. Moyes Springs' request by council was that the county consider adopting essentially the area of city impact that now exists as the new boundaries of the area of impact. When we prepared this for the mailing, which there were 182 mailers that went out on this one, we found that a few of them were already in Moyes Springs, so there need to be some adjustments to the map if you adopt this to remove ones that are already in the city. They won't need to be in the area of impact. And then we had sent this out for agency comment. We did not receive any agency comment. And for Bonners Ferry, we received no public comment. For the city of Moy, thus far we had 3 written letters. They were each from the Kootenai Rim Estates. and each expressed concerns about this leading to potential annexation, and that there be no need for them to be included because there were no, needs for public services, that they don't lack that. There was a note in several of them that said that they were concerned about these establishing impact fees, and this ordinance does not address impact fees. It's not a part of this ordinance at all. It doesn't establish it, and it doesn't use it as a tool to start impact fees up on properties that are in the county. So just to clarify that. So those are the three that I have on record as of today. And then just for reference, you may already know, but the subdivision in question, Cooney Rim Estates, you can see in the lower or southwesterly part of the city. In the map you might have received with some of the letters, it's upside down, it's north and south on that one, so this one shows where it is in relation to the rest of the city.
Before you move on,
Mhm.
again, that's the dash line is Coogee Rim.
No, I just included the dash line to show that we don't exceed 2 miles in any distance,
Okay.
and I took the greatest one and I showed that at 0.53 of a mile,
Mhm.
half a mile, give or take. And then this is that subdivision in question right here, roughly the green line, Cooney Rim Estates.
What's the old yellow or orange?
City limits.
City limits now, current city limits.
Correct.
So the orange dash coming around, that is the proposed area of impact.
It is not shown on this map. This is a current drawing from your GIS interactive map, and so it's showing the edge of the city limits. And then this is the area of city impact, is that your question? The area of city impact is the dash.
Yes.
And you can see they're already in that to begin with. And the city is looking to retain that. I forgot that layer was on, but you're right.
Okay.
And then the last, I think, is just a consideration of what you do next, which is, the board chair will call for testimony from Bonners Ferry first. And then we'll let the testimony from Bonners Ferry take place and then follow that with Moye, so we can keep those two as separate as possible for the testimony.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for?
When can we ask questions?
So you can ask staff questions for any clarifiers, and you can ask the applicant as he's presenting if you have questions. And then if someone's testifying and you need to ask more information, you can do that before they sit down.
Mike?
All right. I don't know if you'd want me to go back to the map. I kind of know who the parcel owners are.
You gonna hop up, introduce yourself to the group?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Klaus, City of Bonners Ferry, City Administrator. And, I worked with council to put this together. And basically what the City of Bonners Ferry decided is we really didn't want to go out any further than we really thought reasonably we would reach in 5 years. And so what we did is we took a look at the people that have actively asked to be annexed or wanted to be and made it known to us that they wanted to be. And so of those parcels, the lowest one there, I don't know which one you'd want me to go to.
You know, get the arrow onto it.
Yeah, so that one is owned by Hilt Venture Capital, and so is the one due north of it. And the old American building, that is owned by David Baker, the one to the north of that, Claire. And then just south of that is Margaret Huggins. At least that's what the current ownership still shows on the county's parcel mapping. That can change, it just kind of depends on when the mapping is updated. But, and then, like Claire said, the ITD property, there's really no tax burden at all for them, so there's really not a lot of, we have talked to them, but I don't see that really being a big issue, so. Anyway, that's, just tried to summarize the council's theory was to not really go any further than what we really reasonably thought we would go in 5 years. And I admittedly advised them of this, to not really take on anybody that hasn't been actively asking to be in it, so.
Do these parcels have sewer and water currently, or could they be served?
Idaho Transportation Department is served, the David Baker property is, and so is the Margaret Huggins property. The other two are not currently served, but there is water and sewer services along the highway and also in Windjam subdivision that's due north of, due east of the ITD property. So there are places that they can connect to water and sewer. Electric is available on the highway as well.
It's, say if they were annexed in the city and then chucked down, say there's 10 more lots there, and would that be serviceable then?
Yes.
So all those individuals are in agreement with this proposal?
They have asked for, I haven't spoken to David Baker, but he had a representative that wanted to do a development there that I spoke to. But within the last 12 months, all of these owners have expressed an interest in being annexed in the future.
That's some good. Okay, so we'll do testimony. Okay, I'm gonna set a time limit for 3 minutes for testimony. I'd like to call anybody who would like to testify in favor of the city of Bonners Ferry's application. Anybody in favor? All right, anybody who would like to testify uncommitted or neutral?
I can't read because I don't have my glasses, or I can't just
Can
see.
you stand up, state
Yeah.
your name, please?
Adrian Norris, Boundary County. The red ones, did you say they're going to be a part of this area of impact or not?
Do you want an answer? Or do you want me to?
I think I can,
Okay.
I think I can field this. So the orange is what you're talking on the lower right?
No,
hand side?
the red ones.
To the very top.
So Hilt Ventura,
Just wanna
the
make
state
sure
of
we're
Idaho.
Talking here,
Yeah, all of those red.
yes.
Do they want to be a part? Are they going to be a part of it, or are they going to be excluded?
They'd be inside of the area of impact
Okay,
in this proposal.
because I just.
Correct, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, I just verifying, because we know Hill Ventura is, got almost 10 properties up and down the highway.
Well, these
And
the
they are
only-
developers.
These are the only ones proposed.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Anybody else uncommitted, neutral? Go ahead, sir.
My name's Rick Pollack, and if I'm understanding this right, I live down on the end of, Division Street. Will that annex me into the city limits, according to this map?
No.
You're on Moyer. That's Moyer.
Are you talking Moyer?
Yeah,
Oh.
Okay, that,
We're not there yet.
we're not there yet. They'll be the next group of slides, okay?
We're doing Bonners Ferry first and Wade second.
gotcha.
Anybody else uncommitted, neutral for Bonners Ferry? Anybody like to speak opposed to the city of Bonners Ferry? Anybody would like to speak opposed to this plan for Bonners Ferry? Okay, do you have any clarifying questions, do you have?
Do not.
Mike just left, that's his chance to speak again. We'll give him a minute before I skip him.
There's a car alarm going off, maybe with this.
Okay, Mike, it's time for a rebuttal. If you have one, there wasn't really any questions for you there, but do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I have nothing.
Okay.
I want to make sure it's pretty clear, if I could go to the map, just so everyone knows if there's any Bonners Ferry residents here or in this area that, this area is already, annexed, and so is this, the postal property as well as the Climber Service, so that's already in city limits. I don't know if I mentioned that.
I do have a question for you, Mike. So with the LaBrosse Hill neighborhood not being part of the city, the highway running through, that doesn't constitute like a shoestring?
That's actually been a discussion with several attorneys, across the state, and, I would say most that I know of or have talked to have interpreted that to not mean the same, since it is directly opposite, those parcels are directly opposite currently annexed property in from the right of way.
Chair, if I might clear, Marley, we had asked city attorney to weigh in on that when the applicant, or the interested applicants sought annexation, to verify whether or not it was shoestring, and she determined it was not, because the last annexation took in the highway, and she considered that to then be contiguous.
Question for you too, Mike. Yeah, to the area, we have areas that are close to this and it's kind of chunked out. Is that gonna, doing this annexation, is that gonna put more pressure or
Oh, in the area of impact.
area of impact? Is that gonna put more pressure on them to be part of the area of impact in the future?
You know, I don't think so. The nice thing about this process is that, you know, even if, these folks wanted to annex, I don't know that that process is gonna be a whole lot slower than for these folks. You know what I mean? It just kinda shows that these folks are interested and that the city is willing to, you know, annex those, but I don't think the process is really any more difficult for somebody that's not in this area.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're not gonna be forced to make other decisions just because they're getting somewhat liable.
No, and that was definitely something that the Idaho legislature was pretty clear about. They wanted to get all of that control, like Claire described, in the county's hands, because I think that when you read the Idaho code on this now, it was pretty clear they wanted to take as much power out of cities' hands as possible and put it into the counties. So there's really no encumbrances on these properties that the city would have that I know of, is there, Claire? Other than it's just, you know, shown as an area of impact now. But it's a lot less, I would say, powerful area of city impact that was disposed of in this process.
So in the future, should they be annexed? That would be the next step if they move down this road, correct? Does that decision come to the county board again, or that's within the city?
That would be an application to the city.
Yeah, I can jump into my primarily for the record, the way that the new annexation law paired up with this at the same time last year in the 2024 legislature was that voluntary annexation can take place without being in the area of city impact, but involuntary annexation, meaning the city wants to take it and someone might be unwilling, takes them being in the area of impact. They have to have first been adopted in the area of impact in order to be, you know, forcibly annexed, if you wanna use that term. We see less and less of that in Idaho now. It's not very popular.
How does the forcible annexation work?
It's first of all being in the area of impact, so that means the county's entered into this agreement, we've mapped it, it's in the area of impact. And then it's called a category B annexation, and it means you prepare for a report. There are certain criteria, just like it has to be contiguous. You have to show your cost benefit analysis and how it's not gonna cost the city more to take it in. And there has to be a substantial report, and then it goes through a process of hearings, with the folks who are to be annexed, them being given notice, and then that opportunity to be heard. So it's another full and different step from this.
So why do the area of impact when you can do a comp plan and get to the same result?
If you, some of our cities are, do you want me to answer? Mike?
Go ahead.
Sorry, some of our cities are deciding they don't want any area of impact, because if there's a willing party and they're in their city of impact, there's no need for them to be in the area of impact. So it's a matter of, I think there's some discussion about, does the city, no matter what, still have to have a map? And some of our attorneys are telling us, yes, they do regardless. So that's why Bonner's Ferry chose to do ones that they knew were willing or interested.
And we really wanted to follow what we truly anticipated happening in 5 years and no more, because that's the way the law reads.
Sure. You have any questions, Scott? Would you like to move on to Wade, or do you want us to finish?
Why, great.
Okay. Can I turn it over to you from Wade? Or,
Is there someone from Way presenting them?
So I'm Wes Love, I'm on the Moyer Springs City Council. And when this got brought up to the city of Moyer, we just thought we would keep with the original plan that was already in place, rather than take the time to try to change it. Not saying that we're against, or we would be against changing it. We're just trying to do the quickest way, just to keep the one that we already had in place. Nobody knows for sure when this our area of impact started, but it's been before my time. So that was our thought process there.
questions you wanna start with? Okay, I have some questions for you.
Okay,
Okay, so I kinda went through and tried to count how many lots, parcels were inside there, came up to 222 or something like that, but. In the Idaho code, it says areas where municipal or public sewer and water are expected to be provided within 5 years. Is there an expectation to serve all of these, or be able to serve all these areas within 5 years?
not with sewer.
Well, that kinda limits us a little bit there.
Yep. So when the city of Moyer did the sewer project, the county was also part of the original part of it, and one of the things that could come is if we were to expand that sewer to get up to 3 Mile, the city site has enough capacity to be able to do that. But there is no plans.
So at full capacity with expansion of your sewer project, how many parcels or residents could you serve beyond what you have within city limits now?
I believe we can add 6 more SBRs, and we have 2 right now that will do the 200. So there's enough spot or enough room on that land for that. Now, whether we have the capacity through DEQ to put that much back into the river, I don't know. But as far as the capacity of the site and the acreage that we have there.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we're here because this was easy to kind of copy what was there previously.
Yeah.
but With Idaho code being changed, I don't think it's quite that easy anymore. So I guess my question to you, what would be the realistic view of 5-year expansion for sewer?
As far as sewer, there is some water issues on the north side of the highway, Moss Loop area. We've already had a couple of people that came to us over the last few years that we could not provide water for, that wanted to be annexed, so we couldn't do that. South of the highway though, we have pretty good water for all that. There is the capacity for that.
Yeah, in my information here, it says sewer and water, so.
Oh, yeah. The only sewer that we can service that this current system is the downtown Moyer, and there's no talk of expansion whatsoever.
So if we were to think about your guys' 5-year plan, there's nothing really outside of city limits that's currently in.
No.
That kind of answers our question.
Yeah.
Claire, I have a question for process here. So kind of already went down the road of what's not going to work with this. Is there a point of carrying through this, or we can move to motion?
I would say you'd still hear public testimony, get a full picture of what your concerns are, and then from that decide whether you deny, remand, modify, or approve.
I think you do it too for the record, you know, hear testimony.
Sure. Okay, so you guys kind of heard all that, but I'll open up for a public testimony for anybody who is neutral to the.
Hope I don't slaughter this. Maybe Jim or Casey, Adrian Norris, Bonner's Ferry, sorry. Maybe Casey or Jim Hill can explain this, and hopefully I don't slaughter this. But another problem that we have is fire suppression. And I'm hoping I'm doing this right, but the way I was explained that our businesses, especially at 3 Mile, which we have a lot of businesses, they need to have the sprinkler system, but they can't have the sprinkler system because of the amount of water that can come in and out.
Let's keep it to the Moyer area
Yeah,
impact.
right, and so we're
3 Mile's
talking,
not in it.
but he was talking about 3 Mile. So, can I finish? Okay. So, fire suppression needs to also be put into this because it is a major issue, and our firemen cannot handle if some of our businesses go under fire threat. Thank you.
It is a consideration.
Thank you.
Anybody else who would like unopposed or neutral? Anybody like to testify in favor? Anybody like to testify in favor? Who would like to testify first in opposition? Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, my age is showing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll take the 3 minutes and be very quick.
Okay, can you say your name first?
Excuse me, Terry Capurso. I live in, on Rim Drive in the Moye area. I did already turn in a written testimony, but I'll just add a few other things if you don't mind. A couple of things that just, for the audience's clarification and for you, let me just go through a couple of definitions. The definition of an area of influence. Area is expected to be annexed by the city in the future, making it a planning precursor to the city expansion. Public service considerations that recognizes that potential future delivery of public services such as water and sewer, which we've already discussed, and areas that will be growing. Now let me take a quote directly from Idaho Code 6526 is what brought us here today to begin with. This is on subsection 1B. An area of impact is where growth and development are expected to occur. Areas of impact should be planned for growth and development and should not be used to stop growth and development that conforms to applicable plans and ordinances. Areas of impact should be established, modified, or confirmed based on the ability and likelihood of a city or cities to annex lands within that area of impact in the near future. A city may adopt a comprehensive plan and conduct infrastructure. Also out of the same Idaho Code 676526, 2A is the paragraph. An area of impact must be established before a city may annex adjacent territory pursuant to provision of section 50-222, and that is the section on how a city annexes. Almost all of the proposed area is already established in the new area of impact. Approved by the Boundary County Planning Commission, Boundary County Planning and Zoning Commission, residential subdivisions for many years past. Mine, the one I live in, is 33 years old. It's not anything new. There's no new development there. It's established. All of the forms of infrastructure are in place: water, natural gas, sewer, power, roads, fire, law enforcement, etc. The city of Moye Springs has nothing to offer us that we don't already have now, within 5 years, within 25 years. There's nothing new that they can bring to our benefit. So therefore, I urge the commissioners to consider a redrawing of this map. I believe it's too massive, that it's not appropriate. I would ask a kind of a question. I'm curious, and I kind of heard the answer earlier, but did your 4-member committee that you established to advise you on this, did they advise you to use this map, or did they put this map together that we see in front of us?
Claire Marley, there is no 4-person committee at this time because we're not in that layer of consideration. We're in the initial setting. So it follows a earlier set of the code section, not the 4-person. 4-person is when we don't agree or there's overlap, and we're not in that situation.
Okay, my misunderstanding. I'll reread the code again, but it was very specific about what the process was, and it talked about 2 members to a committee and then adding 2 more. And I haven't heard anybody talk about a committee that's advised you yet, so, okay. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions of me before I sit down?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to testify in opposition? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kirsten Lang, and I live at 108 Basin Lane in Moye. And it doesn't sound like Moye really has a good plan put together right now, you know. No offense, but it doesn't sound like things are together. So I have a problem giving a blanket approval and open door to something that we don't know about. Oh, is the agenda that we're going to all get annexed to the city? The city doesn't have enough services for us, but they do want properties in the area. I live next to the county gravel pit, which is a very lucrative thing that I know the dump's been looking at and things like that. I've heard this from a county person that goes there. So, you know, there's a lot of properties in there that could be taken in if we become city. It's just an open door. Oh, we don't have enough information. We like our CCRs, we like to shoot our guns, we like to have our farm animals.
For sure.
Now, I know that is restricted in Moye City. We have friends that live there. One friend didn't have enough property, so they couldn't even have more dogs, you know, there's a lot of things restricted that we don't have right now. So I encourage all of you to look into this more before blanket approval is given for something we don't know anything about. That's all.
Anyone else like to testify in opposition?
Yeah, what do we do? My name's Jeff Struer, I live on the end of Division. There's lots of 5, 7, 10 acre lots. What's going to happen to those? And are we gonna be constricted to all those city restrictions? With those people we thought we bought acreage to live in the country, and now you're gonna try to make a city? What about our hay ground? Are we still gonna be able to do our hay ground? You know, there's a lot of things that need to be brought to the table, and I'm concerned as well.
Yes.
Anybody else like to testify in opposition? Last chance. Anybody else like to testify in opposition?
You can go too. Casey Weston, I'm here on behalf of North Bench Fire District. I'm the vice president of the board. I was real close, said 222 properties are in that? Roughly, okay, I guess maybe 200. Those are in our fire district. At the residential rate, if everyone were to pay in that comes out to roughly a third of what we take in for our funding, of what we receive on a consistent basis. On that fact alone, and I'm just assuming, I haven't had it said yet, I don't think, but that would include Moye Fire absorbing that expansion, correct? That, for services, fire services.
Okay, let me jump in here for just a second.
Okay.
Just if the area of impact was adopted, it's not city limits. It's still within the county, under county jurisdiction. It just gives the possibility of annexation, but there's a lot of limitations to annexation anyways. So this is the idea of a 5-year plan, but until they annexed it into city limits, it'd still be county.
So that would not take.
Not immediately.
All right.
Say in 5 years' time, they did annex 222 lots there, then yes, that would be the case.
Okay.
But that's probably unlikely.
Yeah, Jim Hill, also on North Bench Fire District Board, and we would be concerned again about being a membership district, that, you know, we're very concerned about financing the emergency response in the area, and would hope that that's taken into consideration in this entire discussion. City of Moye has perhaps some limited ability to provide fire and emergency services, and North Bench does respond out there consistently. And if this area were to be annexed into the city in, say, 5 years, that would seriously impact our ability to fund our fire operations and provide emergency response in the area, throughout the North Bench area, not just in the area potential impact there. So, just asking to please bear that in mind.
Anybody else like to speak in opposition? One more chance. Anybody else like to speak? All right, do you have any questions for those? Okay, I'll close this and,
March 31st.
oh, no, I did not. I'm sorry, let me back up. Yes, I closed it, but
You may open
I'm going to reopen this. The call for rebuttal, do you have any rebuttal for any of the questions?
Does the city have to have an area of impact? Because if sewer is required, then we will not have an area of impact at all.
I,
it. Do you want me to answer?
go ahead.
Claire Marley for the record, that's the question across the whole state, and a couple of counties' attorneys have said, you don't meet the law if you don't have an area of impact, yet several cities are saying, well, we're not annexing in 5 years, so how can we possibly tell you we have any area that's gonna be annexed? And so at least 2 that I know of have chosen not to do maps. Whether that could get challenged, I can't answer because I'm not an attorney and I'm certainly not the county's attorney. So it's a question statewide.
Okay.
I'll just assume you can have a map that showed nothing.
So may I ask a question, please? So
We're past the question.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep, you bet. Okay, now I'm gonna close the deliberation.
Monastery first.
Yes, sir.
The people in the area of impact have all requested to be involved in this. I don't have any issues with it. I think that meets all the reasonable expectations of the criteria that we're looking at, within the 5-year category, where they have the ability to supply all the services. So I don't have any issues with that.
Agreed. I have no issue with City of Monastery. I think it's very realistic.
Within reason, yep, so we'll see.
Now, ready for Moya?
Yes. You want me to start doing that?
Do you wanna go ahead and make the motion for Myers Ferry and close that one out?
Sure.
Do we have an ordinance number?
Claire Marley, we have a draft, so I didn't know what your decision would be today, so we will attach the proper maps and get that to you at a business meeting.
So do your.
I move to approve the area of impact proposal for the city of Bonner's Ferry, finding that proposal is in accord with the authority granted to the county by the state of Idaho under Idaho Code Section 67-6526, and based on the findings as written in the staff report. The draft reasonable statement is written or is amended and read into the record. I further move to direct staff to prepare written findings, a discussion letter, ordinance, and ordinance summary for the Board of Commissioners for future considerations.
I'll step down with the chair in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. New ordinance. It's good.
That's just the draft, so I'll bring that
Oh,
back
okay,
to you.
okay, we won't do that.
I'll bring that at a business meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the more contentious one, way. I think we kinda went over the facts of not being able to serve within 5 years, the unrealistic view of that. Apart from all your other people's concerns that were in here, but that's a pretty easy one.
Yes, I agree with it.
Yeah.
Agreed, no.
So, we can send it back to them, and that would be a denial at this point.
Sure, Claire Marley, for the record, I didn't include the option of remand, but you can deny as presented and remand to them for revisions.
Just a motion to remand it to the city line.
yes, you can do that. And then direct them to fit it to what your issues are, which are sewer, water, and likelihood of annexation in 5 years.
I'll step down from the chair and move to remand the decision for area of impact for City of Moye back to Moye Springs City Council, with considerations for 5-year growth plan of sewer and water, plus realistic expectation for annexation.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, back. Motion carries. Close the hearing. All right, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Let's do it again in a few weeks.
All right.